everyone. I'm Yvonne, a children's librarian here at the Manchester City Library, and I want to welcome you all to our fall STEAM-powered stories. These story times are aimed at grades 3 to 5 and have a science, technology, engineering, art, or math component. Our story portions and our kits are actually going to be given out exclusively in person at the library. So please visit our website and register for those if you are nearby and are able to join us. But I also thought that we could continue posting some of our crafts and activities here so that we can share them with as many people as possible. So that being said, I'd really like to get into this week's STEAM-powered story. All right, everyone, we are going with the back to school theme today for our activity portion. We are looking at making these really cute paper origami pencil boxes. So they're not super sturdy, so I don't know about actually taking them to school like in a book bag, but if you want to use them at home for when you do your homework there and you just want to keep all of your pencils and stuff nicely organized, I find it is really a good thing to have around. Also, origami itself is just really cool. It's a nice, easy way of incorporating like math and thinking about how things fold out and fold together. And is actually used in a lot of science and technology, including things like thinking about how to create solar sails for spaceships in the future and other ways of packing very large things into small spaces, which is really great for transportation and all sorts of things like that. And I do want to thank Paper Kawaii for this wonderful origami box that we are making today. It is their original instructions, and I will give you guys a link to their website just in case you want to check it out and just to make sure that they get all the due that they deserve for making this beautiful thing and letting us create it together. But what we're doing today is going to require a square piece of paper. So what I have here is actually a 12 by 12 piece of paper, which is pretty big. You can do this with really any square size piece of paper, but if you have a smaller piece of paper, it does mean that your finished product is going to be smaller and may not be able to fit like a full-sized pencil. But as long as that's fine, that is totally fine. So grab your square. One of the trickiest things to do, I think, for this is actually to calculate how to divide your square into sevenths. And that's hard because you can't just fold it in half and fold it again. You do have to do the math to figure out how much that is going to be on your square. So if you don't already know the dimensions of your square, go ahead and use a ruler to measure it and then divide that by 7 and just do your best to divide that square. I actually already have my notations marked here along the side. Don't know if you can see them because I tried not to really mess up my pattern. But I do have that already marked and actually scored. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my paper so that it is divided into those sevenths. Okay, and then I'm actually going to start this by looking at the side that I want to be the inside of the box, which is going to be the white section for me. And I'm going to hold it so that the section folds that I just did are going to be parallel to me, which means that they are going to run across the face of me as opposed to like intersecting with me. Right, there we go. Then we are going to take these first section folds and we are going to fold them into little right triangles so that they match the edges match here with that. Okay, then we're going to take this first section at the bottom after we unfold all the corners again, and we're going to fold that in half. And actually what I do for this bottom section is if there was any extra, when I divided the paper into sevenths, if there was one section that was a little bit larger, I make it the bottom section so that when we have the finished product of the box, that's really not going to affect it because this is going to actually be the lid of the box. Okay, so we fold the bottom and we're going to unfold that. Now we're actually going to fold the sides here, and we're going to fold them so that these here, the diagonal lines that we have in the corners, we're going to fold the sides, so that's actually going to end up being the diagonal of like this square section in between the folds. All right, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so that looks like that there. You can see that this is a nice square with the line right in between, and that's on both sides. Mine, because I know that my last section was a little bit larger, it's not going to be as perfect on the bottom section that I had previously folded over here. But I did go by this top section to make sure that that worked out. Okay, so we have that. Now we are going to flip this over, so we're looking at the outside of what will eventually be our box. All right, so after we have turned it over, so we are looking at what will be the outside of the box. We're going to take a pencil, and we are going to start in the second square up. So we've got our first, and then we have our second section, and we're going to draw a diagonal line through the square that we made by folding over the side on the reverse. And we're going to draw it diagonally up like that. And then we're going to do the same with the square above it, but diagonally the other way, so the two lines meet in a point. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, and that point is going to be pointing towards the edge of the paper. Okay, and we're going to repeat that on the other side. And we're also going to repeat it on the top of the paper, so one square below the top. Okay, so that's what that looks like. All right. All right, so what these sketch lines are going to help us do is help us to show us where to fold on these sections. And the way to do that is to fold with right triangles again, using the guidelines of the 7 folds that we did before. So for example, we've got this fold here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this down so that it runs across this fold line, right, as my guide to make the right triangle. That's like that. And then I'm only going to press down where that mark would be right to this square, this line that you can see. I'm not sure if you can see, but I can see okay. That is from when we did those original 7 folds. Okay, and then we repeat that. And so we repeat that with all of the folds that we sketched in. So like to do this fold here, this reverse fold, we're actually going to fold this way along that line, and then press down only on that sketch section. There we go. Okay, and just repeat that for all of them. All right, so we've got all of those creases done. Now we are going to flip the paper over again. So we are again looking at what will be the inside of our box. And then we are going to refold the corners of the bottom section and then refold that. And now we are going to also refold the sides. And then we are going to flip the paper so that the bottom edge is now going to be at the top. Okay, and now we're actually getting to the really cool part, because as this is laying here, right, with the bottom, which is now at the top, now we're going to actually take these triangle sections, which are these right here, and we're going to push them toward us. So this whole, like the whole front part, the top part flips up and kind of is standing upright. And then we're going to take this bottom part and we're going to flip it up along the crease that we have and push it in. And down. And we're following the creases that we've already made. So we end up making a little seat inside what is coming to be our box. Okay, so we've got that. So the next step is to, again, push on this triangle section. So we're going to push on this triangle section here now. This part right here. So that the lid part will fold forward. So we want that to be flattened so that we can fold the lid. And this part does seem kind of tricky when you're looking at it, but like it does just sort of fold together. It's really cool. Okay, and then you may have to finagle it a little bit to get it to sit nicely, but that is your box. Okay, right? And so what I like to do, because I want this to be like a little bit more stable, is you can actually unfold your box and add some glue. And we're just going to add glue to basically anywhere that the paper touches itself, right? And you can unfold this more so that we can put some glue onto our inside portion. But the most important part to glue, I think, is this hinge on the very top of the lid. So we're just going to add some to this triangle section that we press down. And then we can also add it to the other side of the triangle section because we want this to be flat as well. And there we have it. Our lovely pencil box that I am going to use at my desk. All right, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed this activity section of our STEAM Powered Stories, and I hope that you will continue to enjoy them as we go through this fall. All right, everyone, and welcome to the craft portion of our STEAM-powered stories. So if you come into the Manchester City Library for our STEAM-powered story craft, which is going to be on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock p.m. this fall, it's going to be every other Tuesday, so that means it's going to have been September 14th, September 28th, October 12th, October 26th, November 9th, and November 23rd. But those are when we are doing them in person. Remember, you do need to register ahead of time so that we make sure that we're not overcrowded and can safely social distance everyone. But I would love to see you guys there. And that is where we are going to hand out our kits for the craft section of our STEAM-powered story. If you can't come and if you don't get kits, that is okay. I'm going to tell you guys what you will need to gather if you cannot do that. So, because we are doing our back to school theme and reading the book Best Friends at School by Antoinette Portis, we are going to be creating a balloon powered back to school vehicle. So in our kit, or to collect from home, we're going to have some paper. I've got some poster board, so I want something a little bit stiff to hold its shape. We have got some yarn or some thread. We have a portion of straw, and we're going to have our balloon for our balloon poweredness. Also, I have a pair of scissors. I have some tape. And I do also have some coloring materials. I've got some crayons, but whatever you have or whatever you like, go for it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my piece of paper or construction paper or whatever you have, and we're going to draw our vehicle. So as you can see, I decided to make mine a very interesting fish-like spaceship, and I was inspired by our book this week to create some alien-looking classmates and a bus driver. Okay, so we've got that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our string, we're going to make sure that there's no tangles in it, and we are going to put our string through our straw. This can be tricky. If you find it really frustrating, ask a grown-up or a sibling or a friend to help you. Don't get frustrated, because this is all supposed to be fun. So once we have our straw on our string, we are going to tape our lovely vehicle. Okay. Now what you're going to do is secure your end of your string either to your chair or a table. You can tie it with a knot. You can use tape. Just make sure that it's okay to use tape on whatever you're taping it onto. Or if you have a friend, sibling, or otherwise person to hold the string, that will also work. And what we're going to do is we're going to secure that somewhere. And you make sure that it's on something that you can kind of pull on, right? Because you are going to want to be able to pull the string taut, so tight when we release our vehicle. So make sure that it is on something that is not going to crash down. We do not want that. Okay, so this is where we're going to take our balloon and we are going to blow it up, but we're not going to tie it off. We're just going to hold it once the balloon is full of air, okay? Now, this might be tricky, so if you have a second person to help you with this part, that's pretty good, because once we get the balloon blown up, we are going to want to tape it to our powered vehicle, our balloon powered vehicle, without letting the air out. We can do this. Ready? So here I've got my vehicle. I'm gonna need some more tape. I am going to make the tape into a loop, but however you think the tape is gonna go best, I'm going to put that loop onto my balloon powered vehicle, and then I'm going to attach the balloon that will power it. And this is why having two people is very helpful, but we're gonna try it, see what we can do. Okay, and now this is when you back up as far back as you can with your thread. You wanna pull it tight, and hopefully we are going to see this balloon get going. Ready, set. That worked pretty well. I have more string. If I backed up further, it probably would have been a little cooler, but that worked pretty well. And you can see how the force of the air leaving the balloon actually propels the vehicle forward, right? And that's really cool. We're actually seeing a couple different things happen here. First of all, we have the potential energy of the balloon when it is expanded. And that's energy that is just sitting there waiting. And that gets changed to kinetic energy when the balloon is deflated and pushes itself back together. So what we're also seeing is Newton's third law of motion in action, because when we have the balloon and it releases the air, the escaping air is actually the action. This is the way that the air is going. That's where the force is. And then the reaction is the moving forward of the rocket, because it is being pushed by the balloon being pushed back, which is really cool and a really great example of that. So I hope you guys have learned a little bit about physics and also enjoyed yourself by making a really cool thing that can shoot across the room on a string. All right, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed our very first fall STEAM-powered story, activity, and craft here. Remember, if you do want to enjoy the entirety of the event, including the stories, check out our webpage and register for those Tuesday afternoon where we do have our STEAM-powered story. I would really love to see you there. Also remember to come in and check out both the story that goes with the STEAM-powered story and some other ones that you might enjoy, and also just because the library is cool and we'd love to see you. All right, until next time, bye guys.